Hello, and you join me at Banbury Station, a pretty busy station on the Chiltern main line served by, well, Chiltern, Great Western Railway, cross country, get a train from here to many exotic and exciting places. The reason I'm here today is because recently Transpennine Express announced that they would actually be retiring their Class 68s and Mk5 coaches. Now I'm quite sad about this because the Class 68 is one of my favourite, if not my favourite, locos. So I'm quite sad. I'm quite sad about that. But it gives me an excuse to do something I've wanted to do for a long time now, which is to actually ride behind one. So I'm here at Banbury. I'm going to be catching a Chiltern Railways Class 68 from here into London, and then some other time in the future I will ride a Transpennine 68 with its Mk5 coaches, and then I'll sort of do a bit of compare and contrast kind of thing, starting here. Doors are closing. And my other excuse for riding this train is here. This is my nan. Hello. And she's been very smart because she sat in the declassified first class, which you don't have to pay extra for. So I'm happy about that because I get the comfy swanky seats, albeit a bit squeaky. Yeah, and then it looks like we're off. So the seats are very comfortable, we've got nice views. And the other thing I've just noticed, I shan't actually do it, but we've got curtains, which is cool. We're just approaching Bicester North now, so we'll go and have a quick look at what's going on there. So yeah, here we are at Bicester North. This is actually the last station before London, which seems to be unique to these services that are operated with the 68s. Usually, I think we stop at more places. So yeah, like ordinarily, I'm looking at the map. Ordinarily, these London to Birmingham expresses would stop at places like Haddenham and Tame Parkway, High Wycombe, places like that. Doesn't look like this train's stopping there, so that's cool. It means we should get there slightly quicker. The other thing I'll say as well is that what with the locomotive being at the back and us being at the front, it's very quiet. Ordinarily, if you think pulling out of a station, especially on a diesel train, you can really hear the motors going for it. We just can't hear because it's way at the back. The other thing I've just noticed is that the seats actually have a recline function. That's much better. Despite feeling a little dated in some places, these trains have all the mod cons you'd come to expect, such as Wi-Fi and plug sockets, though the plugs didn't seem to be working on this particular train. There's also more basic things such as a reading light and overhead luggage rack. I daren't go through, but right at the front of the train here is a walkway which appears to be open that leads into the DVT, the driving van trailer at the front of the train. Not the locomotive, it's like a locomotive but without the engines. The locomotive's at the back, we'll check it out at Marylebone. Anyway, I don't go through, but I mean, it's there. And if that's there, and you've got the windows here, then there's a map. Disabled toilet. So this behind me here, it's all a bit squeaky and wobbly. This is the old buffet car thing, and actually these doors look like the original Mk3 doors. Most of the doors on this train have been, because these are Mk3 coaches, most of the doors have been replaced to be plug doors rather than the old slammy doors. These ones, it says they're not in service, but these look like original doors.
Moving into the next carriage to have a look at the standard class seating, and you can see that it's laid out in a more conventional 2+2 layout with table seats. Whilst obviously not as nice as the ones in the declassified first class, these seats would easily beat most modern seats in terms of comfort.
So we have now arrived into Marylebone, the sort of underdog terminus of the London stations. I'm walking against the flow of everyone to head to the back of the train because I want to have a look at the locomotive that's actually brought us here. Here I am now at the back of the train. Sounds like they're powering it down, which is nice because I'm not being drowned out. They're very loud, these trains, but I do love them. But apparently the loudness is part of the reason why actually Transpennine is withdrawing them, which, as I say, I'm sad about. Anyway, this is me concluding my Chiltern journey at London Marylebone. The locomotive is there. I notice it's called Oxford Flyer, which has a certain level of irony considering the 68s no longer go to Oxford, they just run on London to Birmingham these days. But anyway, I've had a lovely trip. Mk3 coaches, they're very nice, very classy. They feel a bit dated, and you notice that especially in the vestibules where it's all a bit squeaky. If you remember, when I was at York Station, I said I've got to ride behind one of these someday, and well, technically I didn't. Technically I rode in front of it because it was at the back, but still, the fact is I have ridden on a train powered by a Class 68 and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, that concludes this portion of the video. Now I'm going to let future me take over when I'm riding, hopefully, on a Class 68 operated by Transpennine Express. Hello, I am now at Manchester Piccadilly Station, hoping to catch a Transpennine Express Nova 3 across the Pennines to Leeds. Nova 3 being the Class 68 and Mk5 coaches before it's withdrawn in the December timetable change, 10th of December. If you want to ride it, now's your time. They're currently operating on the Manchester to Scarborough services, or just generally to Scarborough, but specifically this one is going from Manchester to Scarborough. I'm only going as far as Leeds because, you know, money and tickets are expensive. Anyway, so that's the plan. First class area, looks quite nice. Not where I'm seating today though.
The train was fairly busy, but I was able to acquire myself a weird single seat at the end of the carriage, meaning I would be able to film without disturbing too many other people.
First thing I'm noticing, the armrests feel too low, which is a shame. But other than that, it's pretty nice. So yeah, armrests are too low, but decent legroom, nice table with an extendable what's-it. No window blinds though.
Before long, we're pulling out of Piccadilly Station, with the reassuring sound of the engines roaring in the background. recurring theme of this video is the various spotters who can be seen along the platforms at most stations, evidently also there to say their goodbyes to this train. A source of interest for me was seeing the progress they've made on the Transpennine electrification.
This is Staley Bridge.
So yes, as that announcement just said, we're now at Staley Bridge. This is all new territory for me, having not been on the Transpennine line before, but
This
I like
is the
it.
Transpennine.
So, as we pass through the Stand Edge Tunnel under the Pennines, with my Sprite in hand, I want to tell you about why I'm so sad these trains are being withdrawn. So, as a rail enthusiast, I absolutely love the fact that these trains are loco-hauled, because there's not many places left in the country where that's still the case. Not only that, but the loco that hauls them, the Class 68, has got to be one of my favourite locos. Like, you can kind of hear, as we go through the tunnel, the sounds of the engines reverberating around, that gentle purr in the background. I absolutely love these trains. So these trains have only been in service for 4 years and they're already being withdrawn. That just feels like such a huge waste. And to me, it feels symptomatic of a railway in decline. You see, when these units were introduced, it was a time of such optimism for the railway. Back in 2019, such optimism. Not only were we investing hundreds of millions, if not billions of pounds into brand new state-of-the-art trains such as this one, but there were also all these promises about the future of rail in England. We were building High Speed 2, not only that, but plans were starting to form for a second high-speed line. Well, rather a third high-speed line if you include High Speed 1. High Speed 3 across the Pennines, Liverpool to Leeds, and it would have completely transformed the rail network. And gradually, over time, we've seen these promises scrapped and cut back to the bone. And even on the existing network, from the December timetable change, which is when these trains are being withdrawn, clackety clack, there's also going to be huge reductions in service. And it feels like such a shame. And as I say, that's what these trains feel like a symptom of. They were a symptom of optimism for the railway, and now they're a symptom of the railway's decline, which I really hope gets reversed as soon as possible, because railways are essential to the movement of goods and services across the country in a low carbon fashion. So that's why I'm sad these trains are going. But I'm getting to have one last chance to ride them and drink my Sprite. Okay, so we're at Huddersfield now. So as we're on our final approach into Leeds, I thought I might talk about the future of these trains once they leave Transpennine Express. The speculation I've heard at the moment is that they could be going to cross-country, which would be good because currently cross-country's fleet is not nearly as big enough as it needs to be, and it means they often run trains which are far too short and the whole thing's rubbish. Other than that, if that doesn't happen, I would suggest maybe they go to Great Western Railway to replace the HST sets currently running on the sort of Cardiff to Penzance line. I know there's a lot of you out there who are fans of the HST. I'm a fan of the HST as well, but it is getting old now, and increasingly it just doesn't make sense to run in commercial service. Other than that, maybe ScotRail, their HSTs, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I've heard many operators may be sort of like wary to take on these trains because apparently they have had reliability issues in the past. So if no operator takes them on, then unfortunately I think it may be a case that the locomotives are sent back to DRS for freight services whilst the carriages are scrapped. Now, I'd hate to see that happen, but it's definitely a possibility, and it would be a shame, but it's a possibility.
The other obvious possibility, which I neglected to mention, is that these Mark V coaches, purpose-built to work with the Class 68 locomotives, could be used to replace the Mark III coaches currently used by Chiltern Railways, seen earlier in the video. I also can't help but wonder if an arrangement like this could be practical, with the 68 locomotive in the middle and 2 sets of Mark Vs either side, to make a 10-carriage train. Either way, I do hope a home is found for these carriages.
Anyway, final approach into Leeds now, where I can say farewell to this train. And here we are now at Leeds. Again, this is a station, a city, that was meant to be completely transformed by not one but 2 new high-speed lines, and now it's getting nothing? Anyway, let's not depress ourselves too much, because we need to say goodbye to this train. I love that roar of the engine, oh my days! And the livery is so good on it as well. And there it is, the Class 68. We're going to miss you, but thank you for your service for the last 4 years. Oh, I absolutely love that sound. Anyway, it's going off now. Goodbye, Nova 3s. You've served us well.